watch it from when?
I'll watch from mine.
Yeah, it's good. Oh, upcoming. How'd you use it?
I keep God first. I see you, how you evil when I converse. How today say, this how God works. Play my position with his giving with no concerns. Set it out. Top in the morning, I'm gonna set it out. You living boring, I'm gonna set it out. Shooting them scoring, I'm gonna set it out. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it out. Son of God, no, I am not son of man. Blessings keep falling, the fingers keep coming in. I got you, but just know I'm texting like Uncle Sam. Left to the bank, you know that I'm coming in. We don't do it for the bands though, we don't do it for the clout. Legacy on the line, so I'm moving in and out. Seen good ones turn top dog, greedy ones get knocked off. I keep looking at the bench like I could never not ball. Coach keep me in the game, Curry deadly with the range. I keep looking in the mirror like, who is he? I'm insane. Who am I? He insane. Guess I am the one to blame. What's done is done, won't change. Time to live up to my name. Real will be real, fake don't fall. Took time with this here, I'm made for a while. No sleeping while I won't fall. No sleeping while I won't eat all. I keep God first. I see you, how you evil when I converse. How today say, this how God works. Play my position with his giving with no concerns. Set it out. Top in the morning, I'm gonna set it out. You living boring, I'm gonna set it out. Shooting them scoring, I'm gonna set it out. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it out. Told my baby, meet me at the bank. Told my mama, I'ma break the train. Locked in, I'ma change the way. Working for my baby's kids. Hard times couldn't make the rent. Working hard couldn't save a cent. Lonely nights, just me and God. Swear to him, always made the ends. Grab a paper, see the news. Hate coming by the tools. Walk a mile in my shoes. Something you could never do. Got my back against the wall. Bet I always pull through. Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Sending shots like block 'em. Superman with the moves. Rock 'em so I can drop off 'em. Play to win, never lose. Run it up, I top 'em. Play for belly too. I hip hop or pop 'em. Anything I could do. Real me, real fake on fire. Took time with this, yeah, I made for a while. No sleeping while I'm on fire. No sleeping while I'm it up. I keep God first. I see evil, I evil when I converse. That's today say. This how God works. Play my position, what is given with no concerns. Go, 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 go. Set it out. Top of the morning, I'm gonna set it out. You living boring, I'm gonna set it out. Shoot when I'm scoring, I'm gonna set it out. Like soldiers torn, I'm gonna set it out.
Careful.
Toenail get ripped out.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Good?
I saw Corey just a second ago, now he's disappeared into the ether.
Oh, nice. Can you go help your brother? Please?
Right now?
Yeah. Just go look after him.
Okay. Whoa, wait.
Dad, I tried to hug him, but he punched me. Dad, I tried to hug him, and I said sorry.
What's up, everybody? We're live. We got the audio. We're just trying to figure out the video, guys, right now. What's up, everybody? We're live. We got the audio. We're just trying to figure out. Got it? We're good? We're live? You figured it out. What is going on? Oh, we got it. Oh, we got that widescreen angle right now?
Oh, nice. Oh, there it is.
Okay. All right. How is it going, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to On the Mat. Give me some light. How's everybody's week going? How are we doing? What are we starting off with today?
Let's start off with your day. How was your day, man?
How's my day?
Yeah.
It was a good day. It was, what did we do today? Upload a podcast, and, is it that wide?
That one.
Holy. Wow. You see everybody. Upload a podcast, and, made some calls. Did some, tractor training. It was good. Yeah, it was great.
Oh, thank you.
So can you guys see us? Can everybody on Facebook and YouTube? We're trying a new program here, so that we can like stream to more platforms at once. And we're gonna work on the audio and all that kind of stuff. But we want to kind of make this production a little bit better. I mean, for what it is, right?
Oh, that's your super wide angle.
So welcome to On the Mat. On the Mat is where we just talk about things that are going on in Fiji, the South Pacific, the world really. And kind of what's going on in our lives as the Waka family and my life, mostly me because I'm a narcissist. So yes. What's that?
Bulbina Waka family, I love how you value and cherish our Fijian culture and living. It's all a blessing from the Lord.
Thank you guys. Thank you. We appreciate
See you and hear from Utah.
from Utah.
Watching all the way
Utah.
from Melbourne, Victoria, Tamai, Shikina, Scarfox. Hello, everybody.
Where should we start with the news? Where should we start? I had something to talk about today, actually.
Yeah?
But I can't remember anymore. That's great. That's a great start to the program. Oh, Steph, what's that?
How's the earthquake tremors been lately? Did you guys feel one yesterday?
No.
There was a bit of a shake last night.
Really? Did you feel an earthquake? Did you guys feel an earthquake? I didn't feel an earthquake.
It was probably around 10 p.m.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought maybe I felt like an earthquake the other night, but I was like, that's probably just people walking in the house because our house is like all,
Yeah.
like you can kind of feel it because it's a wooden house on stilts.
I felt
Stephanie, what's that?
I felt one big shake, and then after that, I was just like subtle shaking.
I did not feel an earthquake. What I did feel though was the warmth of a mother's love. That mother being my wife. So my wife right now, actually, Stephanie, she's at the hospital. We had this last couple of weeks have kind of been turned upside down because we have been like going to the hospital a bunch because my uncle. Wow, this guy has not been here for a long time, eh?
Welcome back.
Farm manager.
Yeah, farm manager is in the house. Tractor operator now. Yeah, we've been wrestling with with my close uncle who's in the hospital, and he has got like diabetes and suffering from an infection in his foot, which is obviously very bad when you have diabetes. And so, yeah, we've been trying to go back and forth. He hasn't been able to get a blood transfusion because he's got an internal bleed somewhere. His hemoglobin levels are low, which would indicate that he's probably got a bleed, I think. And they can't find it, or they can't verify where it is. And so he needs a blood transfusion before he gets the operation because he's diabetic. And so they got to get his hemoglobin levels back up. And so we got, it's taken like a week to get blood donations because he's rare blood type. So he is still waiting for the blood transfusion, and then hopefully it's been a week and then he can get a toe cut off.
Oh.
So it's been kind of wrestling back and forth because the blood bank's like, yeah, no, it's a match. And then the surgeon's like, it's not a match. And so there seems to be some communication issues. But,
what surprised me was the fact that they went all the way there. I didn't know. They can do that.
Yeah, so that was pretty cool because you guys actually went and did you donate? You donated.
I tried to, but then
Oh.
Because I had my tooth pulled out the other week, and then I was on antibiotics.
So my question is, so you can't do it if you're on
I
antibiotics?
was waiting there for almost an hour or 2 hours, and then only to get told like, oh no.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know that.
what if you drink a bunch of booze before, like will the person, and you get your blood taken out and then it gets given to another person, would they get tipsy? Like you can't donate blood if you've been drinking probably, right? Like, do they say that when you're filling out the form?
Well, I didn't get to the point.
Oh, you didn't get to that point.
I just told them, and then they said, okay, you can't. So, all right, I'm out.
I assume you must not be able to consume alcohol.
I think they test your blood for a whole bunch of stuff before they put it in the blood bank.
Yeah, that was it.
Okay.
So they tested.
56% bounty.
Grog them.
Grog, yeah, or grog, yeah. Just straight to the dome.
But yeah, it was such a cool thing that they went all the way.
That's right.
there.
So because they weren't able to find a match, actually Limbasa Hospital, or I think it was a hospital, right?
Yeah.
They sent their blood donation van all the way up to Sangani, and I think they got like 18 pints of blood. So they sucked that village dry, and then they came back with a bunch of blood.
Yeah.
Yeah, the vampire bus. And I think they found actually a match. So that's pretty cool that they can send a bus all the way up to like a remote village, because a lot of those people said that they weren't able to come down. And so me and Stephanie have been going back and forth about how hard to fight for people, like in the medical system, when it feels like other people don't fight for themselves. And so we've had this conversation about like, can you fight more than the person wants you to fight for them? Like this being my uncle in the hospital, and like how does he feel, when we're pushing and like, trying to get stuff sorted, like why can't we get this blood, stuff figured out?
Yeah.
And why can't we get a match? Like how difficult is it? And he's just kind of there and taking like bad explanations, and we're like asking why. And so I was telling Steph, like, in Western culture, we'll expand more on this like when you hear Stephanie's side of the story. But Western culture is very much so like try to avoid death at all costs your whole life, and try to ignore it and be ignorant of the fact. Is it going okay? Yeah. You sure?
Yeah.
So are we getting chats on like Facebook and YouTube?
Yeah.
It's coming up
Both,
there.
yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. How's the audio? How's the video, guys? Let us know if the audio and video is good. Put a 1 in the chat. If it's terrible, then put a 7. No, put a 6 actually. 7, a 6. Satan's number.
But from Damoni and Facebook, what's your blood type?
My blood type? I don't know actually.
Yeah, let me clear.
Yeah? Okay, sweet. That's awesome. This is a great like little addition to our studio setup, I guess.
What's your blood type?
Awesome. Blood type, awesome. A+. I don't know actually.
M.
Huh?
M.
M for molasses.
For malaria.
Yeah, malaria. Yeah, malaria. M
Oh,
for
you
malaria.
couldn't give blood because of that.
Yeah, because I had malaria.
How many times did you have malaria? Did you have to...
Maybe like 6 to 10 times,
Dude, really?
probably. Yeah,
Where?
when I lived in Africa. in Mozambique. We get it like a couple times a year. Yeah, it's crazy because people are like, oh, malaria is like it is a killer disease for sure, unless you have the right treatment, but it still sucks.
I live in Liku
For what?
Huh?
To do it?
to get a kabika.
Oh, yeah. But don't climb that tree, please. It's too high.
And
Okay? Hey, bring us some kavika.
Yeah.
Okay? Hey, hurry up so that we can eat some kavika. Yeah, there's a big kavika tree over there. What are they? Hey, Liki, listen to Lipe. Okay. There you go.
Lo se kasangat tau ya budaya.
Me and ambition.
Farm manager right here.
And yeah, so there's in the Western culture, like people spend their whole life trying to ignore death and fighting death, and doing, like we were saying, like, you know, Botox and fake titties and fake butts, and maybe, like, you know, when you're like getting old, and there's nothing wrong with the fake stuff, you know. I'm an advocate for it, you know.
Like,
God bless it. But I mean, beyond all that, jokes aside, they like, I know like so many people that like hate their life and, you know, don't actually enjoy living, but they try everything they can to just not die. And whereas in Fiji, it's like, you know, live. I was saying, describe it as like, you know, you just live, and it's kind of like more of a flat line. You just like live, and die. And like where in Canada, I felt like it's like, you know, like fight death, like, you know, feel young, ignore death, ignore it, fight it. And the whole time you're like not living because you're just concerned about like just not dying. But in the middle of it, like you're not actually living. It goes back to that saying, like, don't fear death, fear the unlived life. And so I think there's a lot of people, at least in Western society, that like just have a life unlived and then die anyways. Like, we're all gonna die. Whereas, you know, I feel like there's a different relationship with death, at least in South Pacific countries, because like we go wash our dead loved ones' bodies, you know, like in the mortuary, and then we see them in the casket, then we bury them, and there's no like, well, there is, but not many of us will go to old people's homes.
Yeah.
You know, like we'll die in our living rooms, right, with our family, right, like, and they'll watch us decline. You know, like I watched, like our family watched my grandfather die. You know, just in the living room, right. Whereas like that is like totally,
No.
yeah, like, yeah, normal for us, but like abnormal to a lot of people, right? They've never seen a dead body, and so it's a hard thing to come to terms with sometimes. And so we're like wrestling, like, hey, are we fighting too hard for my uncle if he's not like, because he might just be like, guys, just chill. It's just like, you know, it is what it is. But I do believe that he would want us to fight for him, so we will continue to fight the good fight. Yeah.
But that's like you're saying, that's the reality back in overseas, where people like work, and then they retire, and then
so many people, especially guys, like as soon as they retire, they pass away.
and they
Because as
try
men,
to
like
stay-
as men, we need.
stay alive.
What's that?
And they're trying like everything to stay alive.
Yeah, well, like their whole time, like their whole life, they didn't live. They saved for retirement, and then their retirement years lasted like 3 or 4 years, or 1 or 2. And like some people obviously live like, you know, they retire at 55 and they live till they're 85. You know, but like I know that the biggest regret for a lot of people is like they just wish they would have lived more while they felt good. Because like you retire, you're 55, you wake up, your bones hurt, you don't sleep well, you know, you can't get hard, you know, and so it's like. I mean, you know, all these things that happen to especially just the guys, you know, as we get older.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I wish I would have just like, you know, spent more time with my wife, been more intimate more often, you know, instead of like thinking like, oh, when we're get old, like we have more time, like when the kids are gone, then we can go on holidays, then, you know what I mean? And then you're like, now you know, no more, you know, cripple everything, you know?
Cripple everything. Yeah, true. But, like, do they tend to like? Do they think like living at the old people's home is the best life for them? Do something?
It is pretty cush. Well, I mean, it's not like there's pros and cons to Western society, right? I mean, like I think there's there's very few things as far as like innovation that actually come out of societies like Fiji. Like most of the things that we enjoy, like, you know, like that we can have smooth roads, you know, like combustion engines, that we can have cars, you know, electricity, you know, like all that stuff comes from like Western culture, right? From like mostly Germans and Jews, like back in the day, right? Like a lot of those guys like that came to America, you know, were like people from societies that encouraged innovation. And that's what's great about it. But in that society, like, you know, you sacrifice a lot and put your family away in an old folks home because like it's about progress, right? And like you can't progress if you're looking after your mom and dad when they get old, because like your mom and dad kicked you out, you know, when you're 17 or 18. You're not staying in the house anymore. Get out of here, go find a job. And like they're like, okay, I have no choice. You got a job, and then you're on the roll, right? You're like, okay, I can get a job, then I can do this, and then I can do that, and then you're like, you know, you're innovating. Whereas here it might be just a lot more like, and there's no pressure, especially with the Itake community, right? Like in the village, it's like that's why you see like most of the business acumen is held by like the East Indian community in Fiji. Is because like, dude, like they have to work, because if they don't work, they have no place to stay because they have to pay.
Right.
Like here, like I don't have to work. It would actually be a lot easier for me to just like not do anything and not employ anybody, and just like farm and just eat what I grow and go fishing and do, you know what I mean? As far as like easy. So like when you don't have that pressure of like, if I don't go and like add value to the workforce, then I won't be able to pay my lease, which means, you know, or my rent, or, you know, whatever that is. And so I think that kind of Western mindset fuels innovation, but not, capitalism, but it doesn't necessarily contribute to like a life well lived all the time.
Just from the penny for penny, I'm just so glad that we look after our elderly at home. Yeah, that's right.
So like, my mom works in a nursing home in Canada, and like people in there, they love it.
They love that.
Yeah, like as far as like a per capita basis, like nursing homes have the highest percentage of STDs, like per capita, because people are just going around like sleeping with each other. It's just like
in the homes.
Yeah, because it's just like rooms in a hallway, you know. So they're just like, in their mind, they're just, you know, time of their life, right? So they're just like, boom, Missy. Well, everybody.
Yeah,
Nice to meet you. Who's it nice to meet?
Penny.
Willa Penny. Thank you for the comment. And so it's not always a disgrace thing. Like, it's not a disgrace thing because it's cultural norm. And like, imagine like, you know, in your old age, you get to, you know, live in a place where the nurses, you don't have to clean your house. You don't have to make your food. Every morning you wake up, you go hang out eat with your friends. There's activities for you to do. All your medical is like, you know, you're guaranteed, like if something happens to you, like it's right there. You live in the hospital. You can have your TV and all this stuff from your room. And so it's not bad. It's just different. I think I would prefer like a hybrid of the two, like living so I don't burden my family, but being able to like see my grandkids and stuff like that.
So you prefer to live in a old people's home?
No, like I don't know if they like. I don't think so. I just don't want to be a burden to my family. Like when I get old, you know.
Yeah. Here with us, it's so different.
Yeah.
It's so different, yeah.
Yeah.
Like how we see it is how we see it is like if you put your parents in an old people's home, they, I don't know, it's just
Bit disgraceful.
yeah, disgraceful. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And always growing up, it's like being told by our parents, like, hey, you know, when you grow up, you gotta, gotta
Okay.
look after,
Right.
look after us.
So the opposite side of that is like, you know, if you ask a lot of people like, why do you want to have kids? Like somebody who's, say there's a young couple, you know, and they're making babies or they're trying to make babies, and it's like, why do you want to have kids? It's like, well, a lot of people's reasons is so that like I have, you know, so that I'm not lonely, you know, so that like when I get old, like, you know, I have kids, I have grandkids. And this kind of goes back to what me and Stephanie were talking about. And I actually had a conversation with a client of mine who drove a red BMW station wagon, which is really random. And we talked about this exact thing. He's like, why do you want to have kids? This is when me and Stephanie were trying to have our first kid. Or around that time, we were a young couple. And I was like, well, I gave that reason. I'm like, it'd be nice to like, you know, have some people to keep me company, like when I get older, like, you know, to have grandkids and stuff, like that'd be cool. And, you know, to have a family that, you know, we could be with for the holidays and, you know, to have fun with me. And he's like, I don't think that's a valid reason at all to have kids. I'm like, oh. He's like, that's actually like really selfish for you to want to bring somebody into the world so that they can keep you company. And I was like, oh, that's actually a really, really interesting like perspective on having children, because a lot of us think that way. And it's actually, and when I had that conversation with the guy, I was like, oh, actually that is true to a certain extent. Like it is kind of unfair to do things, saying you're doing it for someone else by, you know, introducing life into the world, but not doing it for them, but rather doing it for yourself. Where I'm saying this goes back to the conversation with Stephanie. It's like, you know, we kind of were talking, and it was like, for my uncle's sake. It's like, why are you doing this for my uncle? Why are you pushing so hard? You know, like a bunch of like this, you know, surgeon and doctors and nurses are like frustrated because we're like pushing so hard. And it's like, well, like we feel so bad if something happened to him, like if he passed away and we didn't do everything we could. And then I was like, well, isn't that actually selfish at the end of the day on our part to be like, we'll feel bad if we don't do, we're going to help him, because if we don't, I'm going to feel bad. Like I'm doing this for me because I can't live with myself, not because I care about my uncle, but because I can't live with myself if I don't do everything for him. And so it's like, I want to make sure that if he dies, I know that I did everything I could. But in saying that, you're actually like, it's not about him at all. It's about like, you're worried about how you're going to feel. Yeah. Right?
Later. Yeah.
And
okay.
And
I see.
and so in the same way, like, you know, what we say in Fiji, like it's disgraceful to put your, you know, that's like, why is it disgraceful? You know, because other people, you're going to listen to the opinion of a bunch of other people who don't contribute to your life, you know? Because the fact of the matter is, in like 3 generations, nobody's going to know your name, and your businesses are probably going to be dead, and nobody's going to know who you were. And so, you know, I always come back to like the fact of like, why listen to the opinions of people who don't know me, and I won't even be remembered in 3 generations, let alone them. So I might as well just do what I want. And so I think that there's going to be a huge growth and spike, and I might even get into the business one day of old folks' homes or funeral homes, one of the two, because everybody dies. So that's a good business to be in, the business of death. But I think it's inevitable that it's coming, because like with inflation and the cost of living, we won't be able to afford to have like, you know,
Decent cost.
one of the, you know, man or woman staying home to look at, well, in Fiji, the woman, stay home to look after the sick parents or the elderly parents or in-laws, you know, to cook and look after them and do all the cleaning and stuff like that, because we'll both have to work. And so that's why, like, me and Stephanie wanted to come back to Fiji to be in the village, to grow industry in the rural setting, so that we don't have to like lose that part of our culture. We're like, because I'm like, dude, if we don't fix this, like everybody's leaving to the city, and the city's not a place where you get to like have people stay at home and like look after a bunch of elderly people. Like when you're old, like you go back to the village. A lot of people, like that's when you go back to your village, because like you can't stay in the city. Like both the people are working, the kids are at school, they're running around, they have to pay rent, they have to pay for everything, you know, like nothing comes free, right? even the coconuts that you scrape for your miti or your lolo, it's like you have to pay for that, right? I like went in here, like our cassava, like I can't imagine paying for cassava and coconuts. But people in Suva, like, you guys all pay for that kind of stuff, right?
$5 for 3 coconuts.
Really? Ew.
Green coconut was
And so, like,
$5.
that's why we want to do, you know, we're obviously going in a roundabout way by doing the coffee shops and the media company and all that stuff. But, like, we need to, like, get cash flow so that we can, like, do the farming so that, like, all of my cousins, the young kids growing up, my sons, don't have to leave the village to go to the city to get a job. Because in 20, 30 years, like, I'm going to be putting an old folks home. Like, I won't get to enjoy this part of life because my kids will all have to be in the city.
We can do one old people's home in the village.
Yeah,
Yeah, for you.
for me, the tool shed.
You can just stay there, you look at your family
Inside
inside
your
your son.
body. Okay, Sunday. Okay, let's go visit them.
Yeah. Can you imagine? There's like one of
Those
those,
two houses there.
those two habitat for humanity houses. Yeah.
One
Yeah.
for the
Let's
men and
build
one
the
for
wall.
the
Yeah, so we can't see that. It's true. But it's a fact of life. Like, if we, you know,
visiting Sunday.
what's that?
Visiting
Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, visiting Sundays. Yeah, yeah. And after dark, it's like visiting hours are closed. Yeah.
Time to go.
Bye.
Gate closing.
Yeah.
Like
You
10
just see
o'clock
them-
in the morning. Oh, visiting time.
Visiting
On
time.
Sundays.
Sunday.
And then like 1 hour inside, the bell. Oh, visiting time. So what?
Visiting Sunday. Oh, malipula.
COVID test before you come inside. And so, like, it's interesting I think people, like, we ourselves as human beings, like, you listening, each person in themselves, like, individually, you are contradictory without even knowing it. Like, you say, not, you know, I say, you say, we want to, you know, you know, no, you know, oh gosh. Oh, you know.
Now you know.
Now you know. When I say contradictory, you might be a person who's like, we want to preserve the Fijian traditions, like being able to look after grandparents, and it's a shame when people send, you know, their elderly relatives to a nursing home. But then you don't do anything for your village or the setting that will actually preserve that kind of a lifestyle. So if you're not, you know, contributing to businesses or to cultural traditions that will actually like protect this kind of thing, like if, you know, if the Mbosni Matangali or Mbosni Wakoro comes or the village work days come and you don't go because, like, you know, you're wherever you live or you're busy or whatever, it's like, well, that's all part of all that kind of stuff is structured so that we can protect this lifestyle. And so you don't just get to like say you don't want to do this and then like want to save all this good stuff or move overseas and then like complain about people in the village. Because I know people who like have gone overseas, because I know a lot of people have gone overseas because of the way life is here and because they need to get away, and that's totally valid. But like, I was one of those people who was overseas and like, why do they do things like that in the village? It's so stupid. That's so silly. We don't have to do it like that. And then when you come here, you're like, oh, okay. Like, we have these ideals now that we've mixed. Like, we're adopting Western ideas and we're like, it's very straightforward. Like, we should just do it this way. Why don't they just do it this way in the village? And then when you come here, you're like, okay, I see why it's a lot more complicated than it actually is. And so if you want to, change is inevitable, but if there's things that you want to preserve, we don't just get to pick and choose those things. Like, those things are usually a cause and result of like a whole system that allows those things, like looking after elderly people, to happen. Because again, like a mother and father who both have to work to provide a dual income for their home in Suva aren't the ideal. They're not the avatar that's going to look after the old in-laws and the old parents. These are the people who can do it in the village. But in 25 years, we won't be able to afford the bus prices and the phone cards and the milk and the noodles and the food that we have to buy. So we're all going to leave to the city. And then in the city, we're all going to have to put our kids or our mothers and fathers in nursing homes.
Yeah. I guess that's why a lot of people who live in the city always invest back into the village.
Right.
Because they will come back and retire in the village.
Yeah.
Build their houses,
Yep.
build their farms and all that. So they're just preparing themselves to
Come back. Right.
The tile.
I mean, that's. I
Back to the
think
village.
that's I think that's the same with people who lives in overseas as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but like while we were in Suva, that's what my dad always like tells us, like,
Build your house.
yeah, build your house in the village, and we'll be building a house, and then we're gonna come back
Right.
one day.
Yeah. But do you think it's enough to just build a house?
I feel like it's more.
Like if you just build a house and you move back, and your kids go to the city
Mm.
for life.
I feel like I have to play a part too in the village
Right.
before moving back. What sort of thing?
Right.
I don't know. That's just how I think. Like, have solely in the village or whatever.
Yeah.
And like, so people know that you've I don't know, just
It's still part of your
part of
family.
part of the village as well. You're helping,
Right.
contributing, and whatever. Like,
If not, you go stay in the city, forget about the village. When you come back, then
Yeah.
they'll chase you back to the
Yeah.
See,
Right.
see,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like at least I invest in something
Useless.
where I can come back. Like, oh, okay, they can like, welcome me,
Yeah,
even though it's my village. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like more belong.
Mm.
Like, okay, I feel I have contributed enough in the village.
Mm.
I can like boldly make decisions in Lombos, in
Yeah. Right.
Goro, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because usually in those cases where somebody comes back and then they want to say something and they're like, hey, where were you? Where were you in the last 10, 15,
Yeah.
20
Do people
years?
say that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they will say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Hmm.
good.
Like, you weren't
You
here.
want to say something, but where were you during the last 10 years? Useless.
Huh. Wow.
I got something here from Colinio, November. Speaking about elderly, there's one thing I learned staying overseas. Met this really old couple in the cinema. They were 70. We got into a conversation and what he said really changed my perspective. Age is just a number. You will only feel old if you think you're old. Still living by themselves, enjoying life.
Hmm.
This old man, I look 70. Yeah, it's all in the mind.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like people who call themselves old usually will act old, right?
Biangas.
Bien kasi.
Pangkasagas ya.
Pangkas kasi, ah.
Another one from Lance
Three.
Valentine. On the point of keeping the young at the village to prevent brain drain, what do you think is a profitable niche or agricultural business young people can start on an island, preferably?
Mm.
Because freight costs can be high and paying workers can be a high cost too. Don't you think there's a business that can make profit without breaking even in cost and revenue?
Yeah, so like, I can't remember who there's a Jewish philosopher that said something along the lines of this, like, the most valuable thing that you can give to a human being is a job. And so like it's kind of like the same as saying like, you can teach him, better to teach a man to fish than just to give him a fish. Because if you give him a fish, he feeds his family for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he can feed his family for a lifetime, right? And so how far back, though, do you play that philosophy as far as like, okay, you give him a job, right? Okay, so when we're talking about agriculture, like say somebody has a job on the farm. Okay, that's great. So, but I have to pay people to work on the farm one day, right? And so my idea is like, okay, I think the best thing we can do in Sanganga, because it's a central location, I'm just speaking from where we are, is build a processing facility. Because there's already lots of land that's cleared. We can just do cassava and turmeric to start making flour and shipping away the fresh stuff if it's like A grade. So that will give a ton of jobs. So now we've like employing people in the processing warehouse. and we're employing farmers because they have to go farm, and now they get to bring their stuff to us. So now we're employing like people on the ground and people in the warehouse. But I still have to close that loop. I still have to find a place to sell it. So then I could sell it to an exporter, but we're going to get less money. So that's an option. Or I could go overseas and find a market and then send that stuff, you know, to that buyer over there. And better than that is actually to own my own business over there that sells the stuff that I produce here. And so it's like, to what extent are we going to close this loop of potential, I guess? And so that's where we need we need as many people as we can. Like, there's a ton of you guys that are in the States and in Australia and stuff like that who can go and, you know, find these kinds of markets, you know, can go and have conversations with grocery store owners, can talk to people like me. Because at the end of the day, like, money is not the problem. It's just a value thing. And so if people see the value in what we're providing, like I think we were talking about last week or something, like if we did organic black Fijian turmeric, because it's black turmeric. And so like turmeric's already a big hit. Fijian turmeric would be even a great hit if you marketed like Fiji water, right? It's just water. You think water is like really unique? No. Well, how does Fiji water do it? It's because they made it special. It's a square bottle. It's sexy. We talked about it last live. So turmeric's a big hit right now. So how about Fijian turmeric? Okay, what if it was organic Fijian turmeric? Now, what if it was organic Fijian black turmeric? Like, there's so many levels to which you can take this thing and value add. And so the further back that we can like close the loop on, like to the point of like owning the stores overseas, which is very, very difficult. That's the very furthest point. That's the way to do it. And so, and that's the best way that we can create the most jobs and pay the most money, is to own like the whole thing. And so, but that takes time. But like owning it right from the ground.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nom's in the chat is like, show is early today. I said, no, we're on Fiji time. Just realized that
Oh yeah, daylight savings.
daylight savings ended on Sunday.
Right.
I was like, and I was wondering this morning, like, why was the class so late?
Oh
I
yeah.
was like, oh, because they went back.
Yeah. So in our coaching class, we take on, what is it? Wednesdays and Fridays now, right? Usually it's like, it was 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning because it happens in Las Vegas, but now it's 7:30 to 8:30. So I was in the 6:30 class on Monday or on Tuesday, and I was like, what? Why isn't anybody here?
Yeah.
And then I just, after half an hour, I just left because I had a plane and I was doing some other stuff, and I was like, oh, they must have canceled or something like that. And then I was like, no, they were going to start like after an hour. Shoot.
Question here from Shia on Facebook. How did you end up moving to Canada as a kid?
Okay, good question. So my father's Fijian, my mother's Canadian. My dad went through, or he got affiliate. He went to a Bible, like, I guess a missions organization that runs training schools. So Bible training school. It's called YWAM, and he went to a DTS. He did his discipleship training school, which is what DTS stands for, in Viti Levu, after he became a Christian. And then he went to Hawaii, which is where the headquarters for YWAM are, Youth with a Mission. That's what YWAM stands for. And my mom also did her DTS. They met in Kona at the headquarters, and they got married, came back to Fiji, got married, stayed here for 1 year, farming, doing sugarcane, stuff like that, and then had me, and then we moved back to Canada. My mom is a registered nurse, so she has to put in like a certain amount of hours every certain amount of hours. So like, say she has to work for basically 4 years out of every 8 years is kind of what it works out to, I think, in order to retain her nursing license. So that's why we were always like hopping all over the world. So that's why we go to like Africa for 4 years, then we go back to Canada, then we come to Fiji for 4 years, then we had to go back to Canada so that my mom could retain her nursing license. But she's a perfect example of someone who, like, because she didn't work, she worked only just as much as she had to, but because of the, what do you call them? what's the word? Like the employment groups. What's it called? Unions. Because of unions. Yes, that's what I'm getting. Sorry, guys. This kava really is hitting my head. Because of unions, every time she went back, she would retain a certain amount of her seniority. So she was still able to climb through the ranks, which would be unusual if you had just like a normal job. But every time because she was gone so much, she didn't save up much for retirement. And so they're a perfect example of people who have to come back to Fiji so that they can, retire or, have the rest of their life in comfort, I guess. So they're coming probably in the next 24 months, I think.
Right.
Yeah, 18 months probably. I think.
That's in the chat. Yeah,
Oh.
unions.
Unions, yes, exactly. So maybe they should come earlier though.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
There's lots to do. Lots to do. It's just as long as when my dad is in the chat right now for everybody, so who doesn't know. So just don't come prepared to, kick up your feet, right? Nobody's making tea right now. Nobody's making tea yet for you. Yeah. Yeah.
You're gonna be every afternoon here. Let's say, hey, Sarge, mate, let's say, manta.
No. Just kidding. I can boil this cassava. Surely.
You know how to boil cassava.
Huh?
Now.
Oh yeah, of course. Not like one of our friends, I won't name him, but then he was peeling cassava. Yeah, don't name him. But he came from overseas, and that's the thing about dads. Like you guys or dads and moms. Like if you're Fijian and you want your kids to know the culture, like you got to teach us, like the language and stuff like that. And so his dad never showed him how to peel cassava, but he'd eaten lots of cassava. But grew up in New Zealand, and when he moved here, he was like peeling cassava, like leaving that. And then his dad found him. Or saw him, he's like, son, what are you doing? He's like, I just peeled cassava. He's like, oh, yeah. He started like mocking him. Like, yeah, imagine your dad starts spoiling you because he didn't show you how to peel cassava. But the same thing, like if a lot of people here went overseas. Like in Canada, red light means you go, green light means stop. So. I'm just joking about that. But, so speaking of diabetes.
Yeah, speaking of diabetes. Those are two articles. The one you just...
Do you know Fiji's addicted to butter when one of the headline news things on this website is price drop for Rebel butter?
Ooh.
All of Fiji's like, yeah, just in time for Diwali. Make all the sweets. Health Ministry states that approximately 80% of deaths in Fiji are attributed to non-communicable diseases, with diabetes being the most prevalent.
And the price of butter goes down.
Said, price of butter goes down. I was thinking, like, there's so many things that contribute to, like, diabetes. And it's just funny, like, we outlawed, what is it, paraquat? Paraquat, because it's like people were drinking it and committing suicide.
Yeah.
But it's like, you should outlaw things that, like, actually kill people a lot. Like, you should only be allowed to have, like, one bakery in a town. Like, if you actually want to, like, help people out, like, don't allow people to eat so much bread. Ban the sale of Maggi noodles. Like, like, they can ban random things for random reasons. So it's like, why not ban other things?
Well, that paraquat is not meant to consume, and it's a fast death, whereas for food is a slow death.
A slow death?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just like, where do you draw the line? Do you, outlaw cane knives? Because I know there's a lot of people cut their wives up too.
Yeah,
Like,
true.
you know what I mean? Like, how many times do you hear in the news, like,
yeah.
husband chops his wife with a machete? It's like, well, then let's get rid of machetes. It's just like, where do you draw?
Husband punch his wife to...
Get rid of hands. Like, if you're right-handed, you cut off your hand so you can't punch your wife.
Food, bro. It's all in the food. Yeah.
It's all in the food, yeah. Dude, speaking of, like, this is random, abuse. I remember when we were living in Nandi, just outside Malolo, there was this place called, it's like a not suburb, it's like a rural area called Tunalia. And there was a lady there who, these guys broke into her house and they couldn't get her rings off, so they chopped her fingers off so they could steal her rings.
No.
Yeah, dude. Savage.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad probably remembers that. but
Because
they couldn't like they just couldn't get them off, so they just like cut the finger and take the ring, and gave the finger back.
super glue.
Super glue.
Oh,
It'd be like that trick that Gennady was showing to the kids. They're like,
Don't show your kids that trick. You might just
Right?
cut their. Look at this.
yeah, I can take off my thumb. Oh. What else do we got? Anybody in the chat?
Lance Valentine, is it easier to sell your produce in restaurant because the marketing efforts you've been doing with content reaches a lot of people and telling your story builds good relations with people?
So what is the question? At the beginning, sorry?
Is it easier to sell your produce in restaurant because the marketing efforts you've been putting?
Yeah, I think like so it definitely like we've already gone around to restaurants in Suva for a product that we're getting ready to sell, and a lot of people know who we are just because of like the stuff that we do, you know, the support that you guys give us on social media. So like I don't know a lot of people personally, but we have the contacts and a lot of people know us. And like it's really bizarre like being in a place like that you haven't been in for very long, and people have lived here their whole life, and you're after like 4 years you're the one who knows all the people or has all the information. Like I'll have my uncles come up to me and be like, hey, do you have this guy, you know, you I saw you, you know, you're talking with this guy online, or like, you know, you have this guy's number. I'm like, man, I've only been here for 4 years. So like just the ability for us to scale fast, there's two sides to it. The ability for us to scale is going to be unmatched just because of like the brand awareness that we have and the way that people know us, and because like people just, they'll trust us because they've kind of like grown up with us. Like your kids, if you're like showing your kids us now, imagine if I post every day for the next 20 years. Like, give me a freaking staple name. Like, you're not, like, people aren't not going to know the Walker brand. It's going to be impossible. So that's where I also say, like, consistency. You just have to be consistent. It's not even about making, like, super high quality content. Like, because we'll get there. But in the beginning, it's just about being consistent and just, like, getting it out. And just, like, just getting it in front of you guys so you guys see it. The problem with what we've done up to this point, and it's fine, is that like we haven't, you know, if you're on this live, we haven't just taught you guys to buy from us. We don't always call you guys to like, hey, like right now I'm wearing a Sulu and a shirt, right? It's some apparel that we've released that is for sale right now. You can go catch it on wakafarms.com/store if you want any of it, but it's pretty sick. But we haven't done that since we moved here. And so like a lot of people are just entertained by us, but they're not customers. But we have the advantage of like posting, and then like, you know, hopefully some of you guys trust us. You like what we've done. You love the brand and you'll rep it. But there's a lot of people who only need like 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers and they can make $1 million because right from the beginning. So their growth is slow because all they're doing is pushing a product, pushing their services. And people aren't like into that much, but they know that like these people are online because they have a product that they want to sell. But for us, it's been like, hey, follow our story. One day we'll have a product. Now we have a product, and people are like, well, we don't actually buy from you. Like, we just entertain me, please. Stop telling me about the things that you want me to buy or the services that you want me to, you know, pay for that you now offer. Just keep entertaining me. And so that's what we will fight as well. But I think it's worth it in the long run because I don't know. I think we've talked about this before, but like I would say like this brand, like in Fiji, I mean it would have to be top 10. Like as far as, I mean, it might be generous. I'd say it's probably around top 10 like recognized brands in Fiji. And so, you know, to do that within 5 years or less than 4 years is something to be proud of. Not just us, I mean like the whole team. Like there's a whole group of people that work behind us to like make this thing happen, right? And so if we've done this in 4 years, like imagine us in 10 years. You know, imagine us by 2031 when you see this on the front of the Fiji jersey. That'll be like, it's not hard to, like, when you think of like something at 0 and then something at this where we are today, like 2031, it's not hard to imagine. Like, all we need to do is just be consistent. Eventually we're going to have that breakthrough business, and it's like, you know, Fiji Rugby can't say no to money. So now all we need is money. Like, we'll already have the people behind us. So that's my dream. 2031, baby. So the reason for 2031 is because we're in 2023 now. 2027 is the next World Cup, and then 2031, by that World Cup, we should be sponsoring the team, which will be in the U.S. So, yeah, be in the USA. So that'll be a team trip.
Yeah.
On private jet. Straight shot. Huh?
The comment from they should have this with the story of cutting of the hand.
Oh yeah.
They should have greased her fingers with raw butter.
Right? No, it's too cheap. But now the price has dropped.
Yeah.
Now people less fingers cut off because all the thieves will just carry one stick of raw butter.
That time the
Lube?
raw butter was expensive.
Yeah.
But now it's cheap.
Yeah.
You can
And,
go find that lady again if you wear a fingers.
Rub it there.
Rub it there and put back the finger.
Oh, isa nga eh, glue. Did I tell the story about my dad and the kid? Yeah, I did already. About the kid, he was like chop his hand off.
No.
Yeah, I've told that story before.
Chop his hand off.
Yeah, when we were in Africa. Okay, so we're living in Africa. My dad was in charge of running an orphanage because we lived there right after a civil war in Mozambique, and so theft was just everywhere. Like, so just to give you guys a scale, to get into, like, say my house or to our bedroom, we had a gate that was locked to get into our compound. That's pretty normal, right? Suva, a lot of people have that. So there's a security guard. He would open the gate. You'd go in. Then there was another locked cage door to the garage. So you'd unlock that. You put your vehicle in. You lock that. Then you unlock a door to go up your stairs. And then at the top of the stairs, there's another locked door. You unlock that door to get inside your house. And then you unlock another door to, like, get into the main part of your house. So there's like 5 doors, grills that you have to unlock. And so at the orphanage, there was, like, people are so hardcore, they were cutting holes in the roofs and then they'd drop into ceilings. And then because there's a lot of rooms in the orphanage, they would drop into the ceiling, open up the ceiling, go down, steal the stuff, bring it up into the roof, store it, drop into the next room. And so they were just storing up all the stuff in the roof. And they would send this little kid down to get the stuff, throw it up into the ceiling, next room. These kids in the orphanage caught this thief kid, and we were all at home. They called my dad. My dad goes over to the orphanage. When you catch a thief in Africa, they beat the shit out of him, all right? That's just what you do. I have this very vivid picture when I was walking along the beach. There was this old shipyard where they beached all these old ships up on the shore, and they would dismantle them. And I just remember these guys caught this thief, and they beat him so bad. You know, like when you see white flesh, you know, like when you cut and you see the white flesh underneath, and like blood. And so he was like chained. They tied him to like the headache rack of a truck. Like in the back of a truck, there's like bars that like protect the back window, and they had him like chained up there, and they're all just like, ooh, like 10, 15 people. And so that's what they do to thieves. And so my dad gets there, this kid's like already half destroyed. And so he takes him to the police station. And obviously theft is like so notorious. The police officer, the station officer is like, well, what do you want me to do with this kid? And my dad's like, well, what do you usually do? And he's like, well, you know, what do you think? What do you want me to do with him? Because theft is everywhere. Like, you know, what do you want me to do with this kid? He was stealing, big deal, like everybody's stealing. And Dad's like, well, he was stealing. He was using his hands to steal, so cut off his hand. And so the guy's like, okay. So he goes, he gets a machete, he brings over like a piece of wood, puts the wood down, grabs the kid's hand, puts on the piece of wood, and he lifts, and my dad's like, "Whoa, no, I'm just choking, like don't cut off his hand." He's like, "Oh, okay." He just puts the knife down, and then my dad just lets the kid go.
The police officer.
Yeah. Whoa. Like, what do you got to do? That's the court. That's the corrupt court.
Why?
So, I don't even know why we got to that story. Oh, cutting off hands and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, that's a scary situation when your accuser is your judge. So, that's what is beautiful about living in countries where you are innocent until proven guilty. What is Fiji?
Fiji?
Yeah. Are you in, like, if you are charged with something, are you assumed guilty and then proven innocent? Or are you?
It depends on the severity. If it's like a serious crime, you're guilty until proven
Oh,
innocent.
okay.
Alleged.
Allegedly, this happened, so they'll keep you in remand for God knows how long.
Right.
Until you can prove innocence.
And that's the problem with like this, like, well, with the Me Too movement and like believe all women, what they're saying, and like, and just the woke culture nowadays is like, you know, if eventually like that will just it'll come for you, and the problem with those movements is that like people were, you know, they got canceled. That's why it's called canceled, is because like you never actually get like a just trial because of the way that we communicate nowadays online and social media. It's like your life is just canceled because some allegations, true or not, like the culture assumes that you're guilty, so therefore you are guilty and you have to be proven innocent. I mean, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard, right? Perfect example. And there's so many people that have gone through it, not just guys, but mostly guys, in those public like humiliation situations, like famous athletes and stuff like that. And I mean, with athletes, it's a huge problem because like the believe all women thing with male athletes is like, if you are like, oh, he raped me or something like that. Like there's a famous baseball player right now. He had a killer season like the last couple of years. This girl comes out with all these allegations against him, and then he loses his sponsorships, like with Nike or whoever he was with, I can't remember. And then his team doesn't re-sign him, and so now he's at home, contract canceled, all of his sponsorships canceled because he just got a bad name, whether it's true or not. And then just a couple weeks ago, it was all proven, like they found the text between this girl and this other guy about how her and this guy were just trying to screw this guy over the baseball player over because he was rich. They're just trying to get money out of him. And so now now it's like been proven, and he's finished his case now. He's innocent. None of these things actually happened, but he still can't get a job. And so that's the problem with guilty until proven innocent. Yeah, Nasila. Yeah, so he was accused of rape, right? And he was charged with it. Like, he was convicted of it? Oh.
Was always following them around when they used to go and play in Canada and
Okay.
USA Sevens.
Right.
And she had a boyfriend, police officer in Fiji.
Right.
And the police officer was the one
Wanted her to. Oh, okay.
but what they heard was a girl wanted.
Right. Yeah, so there's obviously this people with bad intentions. And Nasila is a guy who used to play for Fiji Sevens. And he was actually like, one of those guys like, oh, next William Ryder. Like next, he had the potential, right?
Yeah.
Just his defense was amazing, which was different from Ryder. His playmaking abilities were awesome. And then when you heard this news, you're like, no. But again, like, he was, when you hear those kind of things because of like the movement and the trend, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, oh, dude, rapist, dude, get out of here, man. You touched the woman? Like, no way, you're done. And it's like, but before we even knew, like, I think he's been convicted of it. So like, if he is, then like, yeah, spend rot in jail. But like, there still needs to be due process. And that's why I really believe strongly in innocent until proven guilty.
From a dad, comment. At one time, a lady caught a boy trying to steal her DVD while she was praying.
Oh, yeah.
She got the boy and dipped both hands in the hot oil.
Huh?
Mozambique.
Mozambique.
Ew, what?
I forgot about that story. So yeah, this I don't know if it's somebody we knew. But yeah, she caught this kid stealing, grabbed both of his hands, and she had she was gonna be deep frying something, like a pot full of hot, like boiling oil. Kando, loma. Melt one piece.
Mozambique fried.
Fried hands.
Fried fingers.
Fried finger.
Yeah.
Finger food.
Who said that normally?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got on that one.
Okay, yeah, it was from your dad again. I heard a few weeks ago that someone in the USA sued McDonald's because
A coffee?
after eating a Happy Meal, he was still depressed. Go figure.
No. Hey,
And then last Valentine, sue McDonald's for having a depressed meal than a happy meal.
So they should have given him the depressed
Depressed meal?
Depressed meal.
Yeah.
I wonder if they didn't give him his toy.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's the
No toy because he's too old.
Yeah. That would take it. Definitely.
I'm going back right now because there's a lot of comments here.
Okay.
So I reckon this is going back to our old people's conversation. I
Right.
reckon it's a new learning experience for both sides, yours and the Fijian relatives living in Fiji. You have bought knowledge and experience in business, innovation, the mindset from first world country. You'll see a lot of Fijians in Fiji. It's not necessary to have these skills. It wasn't taught in the modern. What was it?
Modern day.
God.
Oh yeah, in the modern day age era, digital makes things easier. We can engage better, easier with social media. I believe you're such a blessing being there with the people of this generation.
Speak
not
up,
so
speak
much,
up.
But those upcoming seeing that
Do you Sam to read this?
doing it challenges them to desire for that kind of success, hustle mentality. Grind more, passion more, energy.
Thank you. That's I do agree. There hasn't been a need for this stuff in the past, right? And so, but with more innovation comes more need to innovate. Like it's a never-ending cycle, and I mean that's what we're doing. That's what we do as human beings. I mean, I say that because how can I say? Like for example, water, right? Before we didn't, have running water in the village. We would go down to the river. We'd bring the water. We'd go to the well, and we'd bring the water of the well. We'd put it in our kitchen. Now we have running water, but we have a bad water source. So now we have to go and fix pipes and repair things, and then it's like, oh, but the water's dirty. Okay, now we got to get filtration, and then we got to, so it's just like one thing leads to another, which leads to another. It's why when you have cars, you need mechanics because things are gonna break. You don't just get one and not get to have the other, and so that's why it's inevitable, right? We invented a wheel at one time, which led to, Tesla now, and so it's there's no use fighting this thing. We just might as well adapt and preserve as much as we can as we go while adapting. And I think we can do it in the village. It just requires people being willing to work with it, because you can't fight it. There's no use fighting it.
What's it normally? She battered his hands with flour and fried it. Salt and batter.
He's back.
Lance Valentine never got beaten up by a wet spaghetti.
What?
Ever got beaten up by a wet spaghetti?
Wet spaghetti.
I can imagine that would be unpleasant.
Ever got beaten up by a wet spaghetti? Mom's spaghetti. Knees weak, arms are heavy. Huh?
I think so.
I don't know. Did you know Eminem actually opened a place called Mom's Spaghetti?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like a restaurant?
Yeah.
In Detroit.
That makes spaghetti?
Yeah, because of the song, right?
Oh,
Mom's Spaghetti, knees weak, arms are heavy.
Okay.
And so like, and he was like, there's a picture of him like serving the spaghetti.
spaghetti.
Eminem, Mom's Spaghetti. Yeah, see?
Yeah, Eminem.
Where is this? Here's a picture, see?
Hmm.
Like people were surprised because he opened the first location and he was actually like serving people at the drive-thru.
I bet there was a lot of people that turned up. Speaking of Eminem in the rapping
It's
industry,
number one.
Speaking of Eminem, I could use some spaghetti.
yeah.
It's a nice bolognese.
Did you
Yeah.
heard about Juben
Oh yeah,
being he won?
you told me
the
about this. Okay, yeah.
Pacific's biggest music competition. There's an article there right at the top.
Juben. I'm also interested in this Tetitela.
Juju.
Juben.
The Juju.
Yo.
Oh, by the way, it was Eminem's birthday.
So Juben is in the
Where is it?
VT ones. This is the top one. Fiji.
Oh. Earth caps off its hottest 12-month
No,
period.
in Fiji.
Oh, Fiji News.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, so he wins it. It's a video of him winning it.
Like, yeah. Getting the.
Can you show people? Can like on our new thing? Can you actually play a video? You could have.
Yeah,
Could
I
you have
think
played
so.
a video mid
I
roll?
could like have it there already and just
Just add it in.
play it. Oh, okay, yeah.
Huh?
Next time.
Dude, you're fired, dude.
We're all learning.
No, dude. Two has so much experience with this.
This morning because I get to say that you are the winner.
So what did he win? Pacific Break 2023.
Pacific's biggest music competition. Yeah, the Pacific Break. So there was like
So what does he get?
333 applicants.
Whoa.
300 plus in the Pacific, and yeah, he won it. His album called Semame.
Some of mine.
Semame. So he'll be going into. I mean, he'll be going.
Is
to
my dad still
Australia.
in this?
Yeah, he's still.
Yeah.
He'll be going to Australia to perform in like one of like the biggest concerts of the.
Huh.
Yeah, probably.
That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah.
He's gonna be, that's cool. So he's a Fijian rapper, right?
Rapper,
Yeah. Okay, speaking of Fijian music, okay, what is that? I was asking if my dad's in here. Because, okay, what's that miscommunication or that wordplay that girl, you think that she got it wrong? Just say it, and then my dad can comment. Okay, you just say it. So, okay, so what is it? What did she say? So, Dad, or people who speak Fijian, this girl, what's her name?
Oni.
Oni. So she says in one of her songs, what?
Gitorial tunga.
And and which means what? I play with myself.
Yeah. Gitorial tunga. Play
I
with myself.
think that's what we thought she did meant.
But what did how should she have said it?
She should have said it like.
I don't know.
Come-
Maybe she just meant it as it is.
Like dirty?
Yeah.
Can.
It's the
like-
song is called Durumai Tumba. Yeah, Durumai Tumba.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Durumai Tumba by Oni.
Okay.
So it's like,
Do you have the lyrics there?
no, it's the song.
But what
I
should
won't
she have
play.
said, do you think?
Like he was saying it for that guy.
She said
He
this
was just playing me.
like you were just playing with my heart kind of thing.
Yeah.
So how should she
She should have just put another word in front of it, like iko.
Iko?
Iko.
Like you.
Iko ang gituryo tunga si ko ang gituryo tunga.
So I just remember like
Plita. No.
it'll flag.
Yeah. Flag. Oh no, I can't find the lyrics. Nobody. put
Oh,
the
okay, okay.
lyrics. But yeah, I think playing on her phone by. Hey, no, wait.
Huh?
This bird, the Muni,
Yeah.
playing on her phone by herself maybe. Oh, okay, playing on her phone.
Oh, okay.
Playing COD maybe.
Playing COD. But it's interesting, like stuff like that, where it's like, oh, like you just wonder what she meant.
You just have to ask her.
Ask her. Only in the chat.
Only Lee.
Oi.
But there's, I'm not that she's one of those people, but there's a lot of people who, I mean, me.
She's
Like, there's things that, like, you mean, and you say it a certain way, but, like, it's just, like, you just miss the word, right?
Yeah, it could mean like daddy or that way.
Right.
Yeah, because music now in Fiji is evolving.
Right.
People are like boldly
Saying things.
Things like that.
Oh.
She's from Honolulu, that's why.
Hey, pop.
She's from some.
Okay, so Rua have been named, but Tella opts out.
Yeah, he's
Okay, guys.
retiring.
Teti Tella has made the heartfelt decision to prioritize family time over participation in the 2024 rugby season. Rua is our Fijian Super Rugby team representative.
It's like 3 fly-offs now.
Yeah.
The significant revelation came to light during the morning's team naming event hosted by the Druas at the Druas headquarters at Nandi. While Tella steps away, the squad will embrace the arrival of 5 promising newcomers. Isaiah Rabula takes the reins at fly half. What happened to Caleb Muns?
Yeah, his name is there too.
What? With Iskeli Rambitu, while Wanganalanga assumes a pivotal role in the center. Epeli Momo adds his flair to the back 3.
The 3 fly-offs, 2 new ones and Caleb Muns.
Whoa. Okay, that's weird. You guys forgot about Caleb Muntz, didn't you? How dare you? Imagine if we would have had Caleb Muntz. I'm not saying imagine like it would have been so much better. I'm just saying like I wonder what he would have brought differently to the game. Like, because he was like so pivotal to like, you know, the win over England and stuff like that. And then it was just like, we did without him, you know? Like we did it. I thought we did really well. Sports is ruthless like that though. Like where you can get injured and like, you know, you're having just the year of your life and like, you know, you're getting all the accolades, all the attention, waiting for this moment, and then the game before the thing.
Right
You get
before
injured.
the first game,
Man,
the World Cup.
just brutal like that though.
Lance Valentine. Nah, I think Tella need to fix his leg.
Brutal.
Ashnil, this is Nanivunda in Senganga, Honolulu.
Who's that?
Ashnil Kumar,
Oh,
Asking which
Fiji One News.
Fiji One News.
Hey,
Senga.
siya ka to na John.
Okay, so 3 Fijians have been named in the Hurricane squad. Did I hear this right? That we have this gentleman working his way towards the All Blacks. Who's the guy who's playing for the Mono Pacifica?
Tamatando.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's playing for. Oh yeah, he's no longer playing for.
He's not?
No.
But
Yeah,
he's
he's
he wants to
joining
play
Highlanders
for the,
now.
He joined the Highlanders?
Yep. There's
Boo.
an article there.
Yeah,
to
so
play for New Zealand.
I'm sure. I mean, that's where this goes,
It's good.
right?
So what?
Who cares?
Who cares?
Oh, shout out to Neither Level. Thank you for following us. We're gonna have him on the next live.
Korota, Leo, this is what's the village? Yeah.
We are in Senganga,
Senganga.
Yeah.
Senganga.
a village in Senganga. We don't really talk about the village that much, so that we can just respect everybody's privacy.
Yeah, it's in Senganga, Honolulu.
Just-
Sekwakwa.
Yeah.
Sekaka. Spell Seaqua.
What else do we got? Any more questions? Any comments?
Did you heard about what happened with Wayne Barnes?
He retired.
Well, he retired, but like after like that match, the final, he
Get threats.
got a lot of
Yeah,
threats.
yeah.
Death threats.
From the it was during the final, right?
Yeah.
From the fans.
New Zealand supporters sent abusive messages to the 44-year-old following that loss, and he would then announce his retirement from refereeing a few days later. So he says to BBC Sport, when people make threats against your wife and kids, they should be held to account and punished.
Yeah.
If you're a fan at your local rugby club and you're sending vile messages to people's families and making threats, why should you be able to be involved in the rugby family? The bit I've always struggled with and will continue to struggle with is when the abuse comes to my family. I want prosecuting agencies to consider ways of doing that. I want legislation of what social media sites can do to prevent it. And I also want governing bodies to consider what they can do. So here's the thing, okay, right? Like you guys can figure it out. It's not hard, obviously. But like, we're very public, like our family. Like, I don't talk about the exact location of where I spend, every waking moment, or like, where I sleep at night, because like I don't want that attention here. So for Wayne Barnes, like, don't referee the final then, because like, the part about refereeing is that like it's probably the hardest job on the pitch, because you have all this recourse after. It's almost impossible to make every right call in a whole game. You try your best, and like he was trying his best. Did he screw up? Maybe. Am I glad he screwed up? Yeah. South Africa fan, right?
Yeah.
But like welcome to 2023. Like where people, you made a bad call and they're gonna be, making death threats. I mean, you don't think people, like, you're at the top of the game. You're refereeing the most cared about game in rugby every 4 years, the World Cup final. And so if you don't want the stuff, then like you don't ref the game then, because this is the risk. This is what happens when you play the game at the highest level. You don't think the players get that too? Like, you don't think that if if Sia Khaleesi or one of those guys would drop the ball, that they wouldn't be getting death threats either? Like, it's just like, don't play the game at the highest level then. Just keep reffing club games. And the fact of the matter is that, like, these people, they won't do anything. And so, yeah, like, people should be held accountable for what they say. But, like, I wish, like, people wouldn't say mean things online about us. But, like, you put yourself out there, you give your opinion, you're open to criticism. Just, like, welcome to it. That's what I think. I don't really feel that bad. It's just, like, if you don't, when like people go into like Yellowstone National Park, or they go on like a safari in Africa and they like go and like film the tiger or the bear and then they get attacked.
Yeah.
It's like, bear's gonna do what a bear's gonna do. It's like, bear's gonna bear, or like a tiger's gonna tiger, a lion's gonna lion. And so it's like,
Fans gonna fan.
yeah, that's it. And like the most hardcore fans are gonna hardcore fan, and they care that much. And they're not gonna do anything. But it's like, it's just what you kind of have to deal with when you're at that level.
Yeah, you
So-
must be doing something wrong. What are you referring about?
So like, I have opinions about things that would be super controversial that I don't talk about because I don't think it achieves our overall goal. But like, as time goes on, like, we'll talk about things. I'm sure they'll come up, and like, people will not like us. We will get threats. People will come and put graffiti on our stores, or whatever that is, right? Because we're public. So like, if you don't have haters, and you don't have people who don't like you, then you're probably not doing anything. Because, like, haters are a sign of the thing that you're doing means a lot to people and has great repercussions, which means you should either be honored or you worked very hard to get into that position, both of which Wayne Barnes is, I'm sure. Honored to ref the World Cup final, and he's worked very hard to get to that position. But, like, if I get to 2031 and our name is on the front of the Fiji jersey, there's gonna be a lot of people in Fiji who don't like me because I do things in a different way than they will do them, and not every and like. But if everybody likes me, then I won't. Then I don't stand for anything. That's what that means. That like, right?
Right.
To me, it's like that just means that like you don't have an opinion ever, and you are a piece of mom's spaghetti. Moving on.
It's people's person sort of thing.
Yeah, you're just saying what everybody wants to hear all the time.
But Ian Foster too got confronted by a man in Paris, with a knife.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Him
For
and
beating
his,
France?
His family.
Because
After the World Cup.
they beat France.
Yeah, after I guess after they lost. Oh yeah, against France in early September, I think. See, those are the kind of things, like, just like piggybacking on what you were saying. Like, when you're a public person, you have to. I mean, like, talking about your place here, you don't tell people like your location because of that. There's
Yeah,
people
yeah.
That hate you, like the things that you do.
Yeah. I already have enough problem with people lighting my farms on fire and stuff like that. It's like I don't need to, I don't need to make it like any more public.
$200 support for low-income families to continue. Did you saw that? The government, Professor Dima Prasad confirms that $200 back to school support initiative, which assisted 214,000 students this year, will continue. Whoa.
Wow. What is it?
Prasad says the financial support program aimed to alleviate the financial burden on low-income households was well received and had made a significant difference in the lives of many Fijians.
On that kind of note, like support or like financial stuff for the government, like I heard that they're going to be cutting the Prime Minister's like daily allowance when he travels in half, like from 3,100 to what would that be, like 1,500 something?
Oh,
yeah.
Does that goes like to the rest of
They're
the
making
business?
I think Parliament's making a motion to cut it, like.
Well, that's
which is
what
pretty cool.
They said in the beginning they will cut down like
The allowances? Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's good, yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. I mean,
Like that, like if you... Imagine one of your employees, like going out and spending like $3,000 or having a $3,000 allowance a day. Because at the end of the day, like the Prime Minister he works for us, right? So your taxes, when you go buy your Maggi noodles and tin tuna that we were talking about before, or your bread, those taxes pay his allowance that he gets to go and spend when he goes to the G20 summit or when he goes to the UN, conferences and stuff like that. And so, like, you should be held accountable for everything that you spend, which I'm sure they track it, but like 3,100 a day is too much. And so that's why I can't stand seeing all these like new Hiluxes and all this stuff that like government drives. Because to me, like the sign of like something wrong is when your government grows at a faster, and those of us who are in the economy, like all the business owners don't drive, leased out, Hiluxes and Kias and stuff like this, right? Because the market that we work in doesn't allow that. Our customers don't pay the money. We haven't brought them the value to, afford those kind of vehicles. Some people do, but not all of us. And so, like, I expect, like, to see government, even at a basic level, like, we don't need drivers for everybody. And we can probably drive some older vehicles. Like, it's crazy to think that, like, just all the government vehicles are like these fancy things,
Yeah.
Like, I'm a Toyota guy through and through. But, like, I haven't had anything happen to my D-Max. I'll tell you that these Isuzus are, like, a very, very fraction of the price of a new Toyota. I'd be very interested in looking at like the deal that the government has set up with Asco Motors, you know, and seeing if there's ever a tender for another manufacturer to supply them with the vehicles that they lease.
Comment from Colino. People need to understand. People need understanding and to respect others' opinions that don't agree with them. It's on the
Wayne Barnes stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like not cool, obviously. And the people who are doing that, complete losers. Like, there's actually studies that show that like they're actually not like, you know, obese, you know, Cheeto fingered or bongo fingered if you're in Fiji. Losers who live in their mom's basements. They're actually like teachers and lawyers and like normal people that just care a lot about whatever it is, in this case rugby. And so, but they're still losers because they say those kinds of things. And online's just a different place. It's like if we saw each other in person, you wouldn't say those things. And if you did, then you risk the, you know, a physical altercation, you know, like threatening my family and stuff like that. Like that would not end well for one of us. Like we would be in a fight of some sort. And so the fact of the matter is, like, when you meet people in person, it's just not like that a lot. And, you know, like, hate never came from somebody who's doing better than you. That's definitely true, 100%. And so there might be, like, more successful people who hate on you, but it's because you have something that they don't have. You have something that they want. So, very personal thing that happened to me with somebody that I respect, who reported me to the police, and who is actually a lot more successful, has a lot more money than I do, obviously older than me. But I obviously have something that he doesn't have. Because if he was actually doing better than me, like, he would have no reason to, like, look down on me or to, you know, report me to the police over just having a conversation with me, over a misunderstanding. And so, to me, it's just a sign of like, oh, and I know exactly what I have that he doesn't have. And it's just having a voice and having influence in a place where he wishes he did. Thanks to you guys, obviously. But, yeah, the hate never came from somebody above you. Always comes from somebody below you. And so find your mentors and, like, cling on to them. And, like, if you're one of those people that, like, hates people who, because, you know, they're doing better than you or whatever, just let it fuel you, like, to do things differently than they do, and then do it better, and then you control the narrative, not them. But yeah,
got a whole article for you.
Yeah.
The 4 men charged with stealing 18-carat golden toilet worth $6 million.
Oh. Dude, that is a nice throne.
It is.
Wow.
You read that
Shiny.
out?
4 men have been charged over the 2019 theft of a fully functioning 18-karat golden toilet from the Blenheim Palace in southern England. What else do we got?
You can play the clip.
I don't see any clip here except for the
Wait,
see the toilet?
golden toilet.
Yeah, show everybody the toilet.
Oh, ads.
It's a
Wow.
That is a
By
very
the
pretty
na-
toilet.
From where?
this is in
Southern England.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think I figured out the issue with our toilet. You know, inside that, like, thing. So our toilet has filled up our septic tank because it just, for the last couple of days, it'll randomly stick open and just allows water to just flow into the bowl and just go into the septic tank. And it's backed up now, like, to the point where it can't, like, flow out. Which is great. I mean, that's awesome. But there's, you know, that little removable tube that's in the middle with the buttons, you know?
Yeah.
So half flush and full flush. Inside of that tube, there was like a big beetle that was dead. And I think it was like getting, once in a while, it's getting lodged. So I took it out today.
Yeah.
So
It should be, yeah, now it's working now, but.
we should find those beefs.
I'm playing.
You ask them for those golden toilets.
The golden toilet.
Okay, I play.
18-carat gold toilet was stolen from Blenheim Palace in 2019. And now, 4 men have been charged with theft. The toilet, valued at nearly $6 million, was being kept at the birthplace and home of Winston Churchill as part of an interactive art exhibit by Italian artist Maurizio Cattelan. According to Reuters, it's not immediately clear if the toilet, named America, had been recovered.
No.
The
Dude,
4
they
men
named
are
it-
due to appear in court on November 28th.
Whoa.
That's so savage. They named the
America?
toilet America.
No comment. That is crazy.
England, man.
I wonder why
They want to start another war.
they want to poop in America.
Yeah.
Eh?
They
Yeah.
want to dump their shit in
Highly valuable, but you know, the place where you dump the poo.
Yeah.
Okay. So they found it, or it's been stolen?
Well, they caught the.
Oh, they caught them. Okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
So we got the golden toilet back, so that's good.
So
A toilet was stolen from the Lombasa police station. The cops have nothing to go on. This is from Normally.
wait, okay, come.
A toilet was stolen from the Lombasa police station. The cops have nothing to go on.
He's the one that stole the toilet and ran away to another country.
Yeah, Norm. Yeah, Norm might have stolen the toilet,
Yeah, I think
taking
so.
it back to
There's no
America.
toilet better than the Fijian
Lombasa.
toilet. Eh?
Pit toilet.
Pit
The
toilet.
water ball.
Pit toilet.
Yeah. Question from Koreshi Dolata. Does farm track come with backup services?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and that was like a big, like beyond the like, yes, they're the best backup service in the game. Like beyond that, like that thing. Like, I went to the guys who sell the red one. I go, and we know who that is. And before I was buying a tractor, when I was like, so I researched what kind of hydraulic oil does the red tractors take. Okay, this is the weight. It was like a 70. I don't know what I was looking for. It was like a 75/90. So I went to the dealership that sells the red ones, and I'm like, hey, I need a jug of hydraulic fluid for my tractor. And they're like, oh, no, we don't provide like hydraulic oil. And hydraulic oil, when it comes to heavy equipment, it's like, you know, that's very standard, right? And so I was like, oh, okay, great. I'm not buying a tractor from you. I was just doing it as a test. I didn't actually need the hydraulic oil. But that was like a very simple thing that I was like, okay, if you don't have that, you aren't going to provide me with anything. Yeah. And so that was just very clear to me. And so when I went and bought a farm track, it was very important to me. Not because of farm track. It was just very important to me because tractors will break. It's just the fact of the matter. This heavy machinery goes through a lot of crap. And so, especially the stuff that I put our machine through, it's like all hills. It spends 99% of its life in four-wheel drive. And so I went to Hamza and I was like, look, like if I want to buy a farm tractor, are you going to back me up? You know, he says, yeah, of course. Which, what are you going to say, right? You just want to get the sale. And so I bought it. And I could see that they had like, you know, the parts were starting to come in because it was just, it was new to them, the farm track brand. And then now it's something like, it's been awesome. Like if I had a breakdown, you know, like a year and a half ago. Hey, come on. Be nice. Where's mine?
Hey, where's the kamika?
Where's mine? Hey, be nice. This is live, guys. And what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so yeah, I actually did like video. I had a stick that like ripped off a hydraulic hose, and so I lost all my hydraulic fluid. And I was like, hey, like I just video called them. I'm like, hey, this is what goes. This is the hose, and they're like, oh, this is the oil that goes. This is awesome, man. That's great. Guys, come here.
I didn't have one.
Listen to your mom. Oh, they just spent like the last like hour and a half at a fruit tree, and now they're fighting over a fruit that they got from the tree.
Hallie's just They're watching.
Yeah.
Tella.
Oh yeah. I was like, oh, these guys are.
Ali,
silly.
come here, boy. Come. Ali.
What was I talking about?
Hydraulic.
Yeah, so I can video call them. I vibrate them, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this is the hose, this is the fluid. We'll prepare 20 liters for you here. Come pick it up." And so that was a hydraulic fluid example. But I've had lots of breakdowns where, or not lots of breakdowns. I've had a couple things that I've done sillily. Yeah. Sillily. And yeah, I just vibe with them, and then they'll just let me know what needs to be done. And so the backup is. I'm just trying to think of, like, honestly, like, have they ever not really been there? And like, yeah, I can like call their head mechanic, and he'll just let me know what needs to be done. Because like it's gonna break, right? It's gonna break. And so what matters is like the follow-up service that you're gonna get. And like I look after it very well, obviously, like, grease it all the time and keep it well lubricated. And I also get lots of oil changes, change the fuel filters, the air filters, everything. And they just come and do that all right here. So I don't have to take it anywhere. So like the actual mechanics, certified mechanics for this brand actually just come here and do all the servicing. And so I don't know where you live, but they'll probably do that for you too. Unless you live like probably in the Cook Islands or Rotuma or something like that. I'm saying this because I had a guy from the Cook Islands asking me about the farm track stuff.
He always keeps it lubricated.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Yeah. The other day I was like, no, not coconut oil, not coconut oil. That's engine oil. Yeah. Yeah. This is for me. Well, what happened to your crying?
Well.
Aaron.
Kavika. What is Kavika?
Kavika?
What's the English name for it?
I don't know. It really doesn't exist.
Oh, you Kavikas.
Yeah,
Kavikas.
The wind, yeah, he looks after it very well.
Huh? Yeah.
Love you, vlog. Thank you, Guna. Thank you so much for your support.
Appreciate that.
Italian woman wins court case to evict her two sons, aged 40 and 42.
Oh, yeah.
The proportion of Italian adults still living with their parents has long been high, but one mother was forced to take drastic action after her two sons, both in their 40s, refused to abandon the comforts of the family home. The woman, 75, from the northern city of Pavia, had grown weary of having to maintain her two sons, 40 and 42, and on several occasions tried to convince them to find a more autonomous living arrangement, especially as each had a job, but neither of them wanted to know, she said, according to a report in a local newspaper. So she basically won the case. Won the case to evict her two sons. That's crazy.
That's what I was talking about. This goes full circle to the beginning. It's like, people don't want you at home. If she's 75, like, that's probably like the average lifespan here. And she's like, get that out of my house. You growing up man. You know?
Yeah.
Whereas here, you'd be like, I just love having my family at home. They're just a bunch of blood-sucking leeches, probably. Taking everything.
At that age, though, I don't know. Probably it's hard to live there in Italy, I think. I don't know. But based on the articles, it's a lot of people do that over there, I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't want my kids living with me after 18.
Did you notice, like, the past few days, it was a bit hot, like humid?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Then I just read this article, like, about it, like, Earth caps off its hottest 12-month period on record.
Oh yeah?
The planet has kept off its hottest 12-month span on record. Now, the temperatures in the month of October have surpassed previous records throughout history. Global temperatures have now exceeded 1.3 degrees Celsius of warming since pre-industrial revolution levels, getting dangerously close to the limit of 1.5 degrees Celsius, a goal set forth by the 2015 Paris Agreement. according to a new report by non-profit which analyzes international climate data. Mean temperatures over the span November 22 to October 23 exceeded 30-year norms in 170 countries, which exposed 7.8 billion people, and 99% of the global population to above average warmth, report found.
So the thing is, like, if you believe in like short Earth, young Earth theory, like that the world is only like 3,000 or 4,000 years old. If you believe in long, like old Earth theory, then like that's even crazier. Like that, because I'll get to my point. But like for people, I don't know if I believe in climate change, and I say that because I believe like in human-caused climate change. I believe that like the climate is always changing, and like we only started recording like consistently, like the only continuous record of recording temperature, like where we haven't stopped recording temperature and where we can say, like this report, the highest recorded temperature 12-month period in history is because we started recording the temperature in 1659. All right, so we're talking about like, what's that? 1759, 1859, 1859. Like we're talking like 300 years. 300 years in a span of like, some people believe the Earth is millions of years old. And that's nothing. Like the Earth, like we had an ice age, or so people believe. Or like it's hard to just take these like snippets, and that's why you got to look at like the way the people like data's good, but it's like what are the ways that we measure this data, or what do we compare it against? So it's like yes, it's like saying like I am the fittest half, I'm the fittest half white, half Fijian male in Senganga. Okay, it's true, right? But like, what are you measuring yourself against? Well, you're measuring yourself against all the other half white, half Fijian men in Senganga, of which there's one, right? So, good job, me. And so like, these are the things that you have to think about, and that's why like, yes, the climate is changing, and yes, things have changed. But like, who can, like, I don't know people that can actually give me a complete argument about like how it's like not, is it changing? Is it because of us? Directly, for sure. And there's things that we do now that I think do harm the environment. But like rising ocean, I don't know if that can be directly linked. Because similar to like a big conversation that we had in a church I used to go to, whether women should be allowed to be involved on an elders board that leads a church or not, according to Timothy, where they're like, it's pretty clear that like women aren't allowed to lead in a church setting as far as like being elders. But there's a lot of people who say that they can, and arguments for why they should be able to, and there's a lot of like really wise people who say why not. So in the same way with climate change, there's a lot of really, really smart people that say like, hey, the climate is just changing because it's always changing. And like humans have very, very little to do with this like cycle that we're in. And there's also a lot of smart people that say like this, humans have caused this, and everything, this rising temperatures is directly related to like our emissions or whatever. There's obviously stuff that we do, like spray on our farms, that leaks into the water system that goes out to the ocean and kills the coral. Like that, I can understand that. Like, I just don't know if like rising oceans and like these big things that we see can be directly linked. And this is a hot take, and like a lot of people don't. I'm just saying like I don't know what to believe, because there's a lot of smart people on both sides of the argument. There is, and I'm an idiot. I have to say that, right? And I'm just an idiot, and I don't actually know. And I don't know.
But from normally freeze, how do you say that? Freeze thaw?
Freeze thaw cycle.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And they have only been keeping record of fittest half white, half Fijian men for only 145 years.
What happened 145 years ago?
Yeah, what happened?
Is that when white people first came to Fiji?
I think so.
Yeah.
When did the first missionary come to Fiji?
1825 or 1880.
See what I'm saying about us being idiots? We don't even understand jokes around here. But this is the level to which Norm Lee goes. He makes jokes that are so deep that like
1800.
even us.
26.
First missionary to Fiji.
1826. Eh?
Kaya sin recorded, it's not recorded.
As Paul Grit.
I'll just call him.
Witkant. Witkant.
1830.
1830, yeah, that was in Lakemba, the one that came in Lakemba. But 1826,
Yeah.
there's a missionary boat that came to
Thomas Baker.
UCC.
Was that the one
Honda.
they ate him?
Oh.
Like before it came to Lakemba in 1826, couple of missionaries came to Honda.
Oh, okay.
So blown up.
There you go. Oh, am I?
Make a bit
Calm
white.
it down. Calm it down.
White.
White.
Yeah, because you're too brown.
Really? Like that? Gonna do me dirty like that? So kavika is actually called Malaya rose apple in
Kavika.
English.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
was about to say the apple. This is the cousin.
Malayan apple.
Malayan apple. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Lamay Viti, or should we say? Lamay Viti is called Kavitis.
Kavikas.
That's one of Uri's video. One of my cousins said Kavikas.
Oh, I see. I get it.
Yeah, that's what they call it in the Lamay Viti. Kavikas. Kove.
No,
Kavikas, eh?
Kavikas.
Yeah.
Well, people, do we have anything else to talk about?
Just one
One more?
AI-generated
One more?
question for you.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, do it.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
This one.
Number 9.
Can you share some of the challenges you faced as well as the rewarding aspects of living in your father's village?
Read it again.
Can you share some of the challenges you faced as well as the rewarding aspects of living in your father's village?
So rewarding is like this. My kids like out playing and like going swimming in the river, going to get fruit, and then like swimming in the river again and playing with the dog. Playing, waking up in the mornings like this last week. Waking up in the mornings and they're like playing malls down there by the river. Or down by the house, like in the rugby field. So they're just like, the slow motion tackling, like just like destroying each other. So the malls is a game where like you can't run, but you can tackle. Just rugby without it was played in a very small area. And so but it teaches them how to tackle and they rough with each other and they're laughing at like 5:30, 6 a.m. in the morning instead of like, disturbing their mom. And so that's been awesome. And they're gonna be hard ass men. Like as far as like what I can see are like hard ass little men at least, because they are like they're pretty tough little guys. And I see that when we go back to Canada or when I see them, compared to other children that, we meet from Western cultures. I think it's also because like me and Steph are pretty hard on them as well. But that's been great. Challenging was like expecting that like, oh, my family will be like really for me. And they're like, oh, I'm going to come here and like, I'm going to like employ, like once people hear that like, I want to, like what I want to do, like we're all going to get excited about this. Like what? Like we can like, start farming and like John will like find the markets and like, like transport the stuff. We just have to plant. It's like, no, it's not like that at all. It's actually really discouraging if you expect your family to be like all for you. And it's not that like my family is not for me or my close family. It's just like you feel the ones who aren't for you a lot, and the people who like could come into your coffee shop that never come into your coffee shop, and you notice it, and so that can be discouraging at times, I guess. Yeah. Is it?
Okay.
Keep it going.
In what ways has returning to your father's village changed or shaped your perspectives on life?
How has it changed or shaped my perspective on life? I don't know if it has at all, really. Yeah.
Because you've been like coming, every now and then.
Yeah, like,
it's
yeah.
been shaping you.
Yeah, like I think over the years, yeah, like I mean, I guess I think about how people changed me, like have shaped me. And I don't think people have changed me that much. Again, like other than like maybe being more disappointed than I thought I'd be. But I think, yeah, just seeing like how much potential there is, especially with the land, has like changed me, and it continues to change me. And so I think I am like more inspired than ever to like want to do something.
Last question.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to individuals with a similar background who may be contemplating a return to their ancestral roots?
Come again?
What advice would you give to individuals with a similar background who may be contemplating a return to their ancestral roots?
I say be like open to like things not going according to plan, like things just taking longer than you thought they would. And if you're coming with a partner, just make sure you guys are both on the same page. I know me and Stephanie preach that a lot, but like that your goals are aligned. I think Stephanie just did a reel about this, right? Yeah, like making sure your goals are aligned is huge. And so like you also have to be flexible at a certain point. Like you have to push, but you also have to be flexible and allow and figure out what the game is that you are actually playing. Because like, for example, like we're farming, and so but the game is actually like getting to the market. And so like you can farm, but like that doesn't mean you're gonna be able to make money. And so getting to the market isn't just like taking your stuff to the market either. It's also like doing what we're, the way that we're doing is like through social media, so that like when people think of Fiji or they think of Honolulu, like we're the first people on their mind. And so like we by default become the market. And so recognizing like the game that you need to play to get to the result that you want is also important. And I'm just coming in with like all these like presuppositions about like this is how it should be, because that's just not how life works a lot. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, I think it's just that. Let's wrap it up.
Should we wrap it up?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Thank you guys very much for joining this beautiful Friday. It's actually such a nice evening out. Thank you for, putting up with our new platform that we're trying to dual stream on. We'll work on the audio and stuff like that. We're gonna order some different mics and stuff like that in the next week. In the meantime, my name is Jonathan. This is Tui behind the camera. Sam.
Bye, everyone.
And Kroy on the mix. DJ.
DG.
My name is Jonathan. This was On the Mat, and this is the merch that we sell. You can catch it on wakafarms.com/store. Go follow us on Facebook, on YouTube, on TikTok. Just search the Waka Family. You can catch everything there. Tell your friends and your family. If you guys want to invest in Fiji, just shoot me an email. And thank you guys for joining. Thank you to Global Machinery for sponsoring. And we will catch you guys on the flip side. Have a great weekend.
Happy Diwali, everybody.
Oh yeah, and happy Diwali. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Sorry, Colinio. Thank you, Colinio, for the donation. Thank you.
Whoa.
Vlog next Friday session. Yes.
Let's do it. Yeah, we'll do it again. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you guys.